Oh, you wrong. We
can smell it from the
Right, I did. This wall is okay. You gonna give us some pieces? Right. Well, I was like,
what is it you just put in my fresh?
a blueberry.
Okay.
I don't like those.
Blueberries.
Are you selling them? Michael Jackson, my wife. Hey, but you got blueberry right here. There's one store. It's six.
So this one, you're saying no, right? I'm in.
Is this right?
This wall was first and first second. One person left just one day.
You gonna wear it?
So BA would have to be. You don't even have to write yes.
Everybody ate one plate.
I don't know the difference.
Hey, it is what it is.
If it's yes,
No.
you will only use it if I say use the activities here. Did I say use the activities here?
Yeah, but on the test, it'll share what you say.
If you forget, it's the last four on the test. Back page.
But like 5 points. It just makes sense. But like my country, it just makes me a doctor day. But I am fairly not the.
Because the longer forever go,
Is two.
I know one is like.
What do you do? Was H, right?
Why is it you can't think about it though? Tell the boyfriend.
Oh, and switch H.
Right there.
Yeah.
No Joyce today?
Better hurry up, she's not gonna have half a day's meal. I might go Saturday.
Why are we late?
I'm sorry. I got a boyfriend too. She got a boyfriend.
You still gotta make it by bell. By the little beat. Cynthia's here, no Patricia. So we're just missing Patricia and Joyce. And two tardies.
What's the tardy?
The two grab and go people who want to hear about the tardy bell for the grab and go.
So you see, variant match little things that line with H first.
Alright, so when you know it's a yes, what kind of reaction is it?
And then
Go there and find the type of reaction. What kind is it?
you just balance. You predict the product and you balance.
Okay?
No.
So it's an element plus compound. What kind is an element plus compound?
Nobody is.
Sounded like you called her.
I am the This I can hear because I spell my name. She's not spelling it. She's spelling it. What it is. That doesn't look like that. You spell my name. I know the MEDINSO. Yeah. I said not.
It's supposed to make it alone.
Metals plus water.
She was. BA. Oh, wait.
Wait, she's still.
Mexico. Mexico was the same instead of X. So it's a girl.
Alright. So that's a compound, so you have to check about compound.
She was on a 30-minute rant of how we're supposed to like.
The BA has
She was trying to teach us yoga. She literally went around the entire class. And was like,
if you have a 2 and a 1, they're gonna cancel each other. So, yes.
What?
Balance.
With both, right?
Yeah, on both sides.
But it's wrong though. Why?
Has wood, which is 4. That's a girl has 2.
Fabulous.
I cause some problems. Yeah, it doesn't need. No. That. To there. Give me!
You do the oxidation of the compound.
What is oxygen?
This one, what did I get all this?
No, back on up.
No. 8-2. It's just nectar now. 5 over here in brown and blonde. What is our number? This is a metal plus water.
Alright, can we go over the answers? Well, yeah, that one you've got observation. Now, 1, well, you've got 2, that's 3. Yep.
Now you had 2. I do hear you. She's deaf. They only did 2 movies. We even hear each other play each other.
Always. What do you want me to do about it?
What's making these? And then that might be a third time.
Well, what's it always hard?
Okay, we're not using it.
Well, the ones at school.
We did, okay, so that's the third.
So
Ones
what?
at school.
So maybe it's called.
Yep. Is this long hair?
What?
Oxide, this big long hair. And then that long hair. here, you gotta predict.
Yeah, it's efficient.
Wait,
Right, do the symbol form.
You know where he's at. You be getting them in the whole right? And this more
Do that while I move on to the other two. All right, so if we look at the first one, while Annabelle's still over there working. What can you tell me about BA plus water? Is BA in the cold water range? Yes, so you have to predict, right? Now, what can you tell me about BA plus water?
It's
Single displacement. So, did you look at your chart or did you do it with just plain old single displacement? You looked at your chart? All right, so if you looked at your chart, what's the form or the equation? What are we supposed to get? MOH plus H2. All right, so we get BA OH plus H2. All right, this is a compound, so what do we need to look up? So plus 2 minus 1, bring our 2 down. Is it balanced?
No.
Got how many H's?
4.
2 plus 2 is 4, so I need to put a what here?
2.
And that's how many O's?
2.
How many are there?
2.
Good. How many BAs?
1.
How many BAs?
1.
So we're good. All right, what can you tell me about the second one? Will it occur?
Yep.
Yes, because cold water is this range, but H2O is a gas is this range. So that's even bigger. And Na is this arrow, and Na, of course, is in that range. So that's a yes also. So this is the exact same equation. So Na plus a metal would give us MOH plus H2 again. So we get Na, OH plus H2. All right, so it's a compound. So what are the oxidation numbers? What's Na? Hold on, I'm fixing the sound here. Can't deal with buzzing. There we go. Plus 1 and minus 1, so they do what? They cancel out. So I'm just going to get rid of those altogether. And then how many H's do we have on this side? 3. So what did we say we do if we had 3? Put a 2 in front of it. Excuse me, make it even number. So 2 plus 2 is 4. So I'm going to put a what here?
2.
A 2. That made how many O's?
2.
And we got 2 O's, so that's good. How many NAs?
2.
So we're going to put a 2. All right, so in this one, we need to go ahead and change it to symbols first. So how do I write manganese 7?
Mn.
Mn. Mn who?
7. Plus 7. No, nothing.
I'm not even going to write the 7 at the top, just Mn. Plus? All right, are either of them diatomic? I'm going to put a 2. Yields.
You don't put the 7.
Why am I going to put the 7? Am I crisscrossing with anybody?
No.
I don't need it. Okay? I don't need to know it's a 7 until what side? Till the product side. Okay? So I'm not going to write him up there at the top. I don't need to know it's a 7 until I get to the other side of the reaction. Okay? Because half of y'all, if you write that plus 7, where are you going to want to put it? Okay. Just don't put it anywhere if you write it up there. All right? So, where do I look now? Is it going to react? Yep, because we're looking at this long arrow. Is Mn on this long arrow? Yes. Okay. So, whoops, wrong way.
Whoops.
So, Mn, what? MnO, because it is what kind of reaction? Synthesis, so I do what with them? I just combine them. I put them together. Now I need to know that Mn is a what? It's a 7, and O has a what?
2.
So I get Mn2O7. Is it balanced? No. So
You gotta put a 2 in front of the MnO7.
put a 2 where?
In front of Mn2O7. Because it's an odd number of O's on the product.
I wouldn't do Mn first.
Well, how are you gonna get?
Mn2O7.
Yeah. How are you gonna get
Where'd you told me to put a what where?
2 in front of the product?
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you said put a 2 somewhere else. I thought you were talking about there. Gotcha. All right. So how many O's do we make? 14, so I'm going to put a what here? Great. And then put a what here? Gotcha. All right, so for our last one, what do we? So for our last one, what is HCl? It's an acid. So we're going to look at our third arrow. So what can you tell me about this arrow? Is zinc in the range?
Yes. Dang it.
Yes. So since it's a dang it, that must mean we're going to predict our products. All right, so what kind of reaction is it?
This is what I don't know.
Single displacement. It's an element plus a compound. +1, -1. So who's switching? So Zn will be with Cl, and H will be by itself. So +2, -1, bring our 2 down. H gets a 2 by itself. Okay? So get rid of that. Is it balanced?
No.
No.
This
So,
reactive side HCl negative 2.
good. And do I need to do anything else?
No.
Nope. Here,
I am a genius.
Wait, where do you look when it has the HCl? Like on this sheet, where you look at
you look at the acids, which would be
the third.
this arrow right there.
Yes.
Okay? Questions?
You are a genius, Annabelle. I'm very proud.
All right. Any questions about that? Can we talk about the homework activity series while we're doing activity
I'm
series?
so sorry. I did not do it.
You struggled on that? All right. Let's talk about it and see if we can unstrugglify Jayla over there. Annabelle, eat that yogurt. I can still smell that yogurt over here.
I threw it away.
Oh my God. I'm gonna have to move the trash can.
Here. I was throwing Bowers with
I think so.
She wanted to throw
This stuff's killing me.
You not like it?
I eat yogurt and it's okay, but that stuff is powerful.
I just walked all the way in her room and threw it away. She didn't even look at me.
That's okay.
Maybe there's some water.
I'll be like, I don't know.
I wonder what happened in your room. What does it smell like that?
The cow died.
All right, so if we look at, are these the right questions?
Just where are
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, this is the one we took a picture of the board?
Yeah. All right, so nickel plus water. Does nickel plus water occur?
No reaction.
No reaction. If you look at the water section, cold water, nickel is not in that range. So for number 1, you should have written no reaction.
Yay.
All right, for number 2, do we have cold water?
No.
Do we have water as a gas?
No.
Do we have an acid?
No.
Do we have plus O2? No. So we only did one of these examples before you left. All right. So this is the kind that we were doing right before we left. We only did one example. So if you don't have any of those 4 arrows, you have to look up the oxidation numbers of all the elements. Bromine is a -1, potassium is a +1, and iodine is a -1. So the element that is alone, bromine is alone. So it has to be above the one it's displacing. So who is bromine displacing? All right, the one that's, some of y'all yelled out the right answer, somebody yelled out the wrong answer. So the one that it's displacing has to have the same sign. So bromine being negative, bromine is going to displace the I. Okay, does that make sense? So
When you say displace, what do you mean?
it's going to switch with it.
Okay, so switch.
Okay, bromine's going to switch with the I. Okay, so when you check the chart, bromine would have to be above the I in the chart since it's switching with the I. Okay, so on your chart, that's that. So is bromine above the I in the chart?
Yeah. What are you looking at, dude?
Oh,
At the very top.
At the top, yeah.
Okay, guys.
Okay,
Why was it that one?
because that's where the elements that are negative are at.
Oh.
Okay,
Can I write that on there?
no, I already told you what you could write on there.
Well.
So, since BR is above I, the answer is it occurs, right? So K will be with what element now? BR. And I will be by itself. Does the 2 get to go across the arrow? No, it does not. It's not a polyatomic ion. So, just like we were doing yesterday, is iodine one of the 7 diatomics?
Yes.
It gets a 2. This is a compound. What do we always do with a compound? So +1, -1, what happens to them? Cancel out. So,
About
2, we need a 2, 2 Ks, 2 Ks, 2 BRs, 2 BRs.
yay. Oh my goodness.
All right. So AU plus HCl. All right. HCl is an acid. Is AU in that range?
No.
Then the answer is what?
No reaction.
A reaction. All right. HCl in number 4 is an acid. CD is here. Is it in the range?
Yes.
Okay. So we got to find the products. All right.
Acids were down here.
Say what?
I thought the acids were down here.
Down where?
Like,
The acid range goes from where I just drew that red line to the top.
oh,
Does that make sense?
no, it don't make sense on my paper.
All right. The acids go from here to there. Okay. If it's cold water, it goes from the blue line and that arrow. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay. So, since CD is in the range of the acid, we have to do what? So, CD has a +2. Change colors. H is a +1. Cl is a -1. What am I going to get? If CD and H switch, CD will be with Cl, H will be by itself. Again, no polyatomic ions, so nothing can come across the arrow. CD has a +2, Cl's a -1. Bring the 2 down. Is H one of the 7?
Yes.
Put a 2 on it. All right. CD has a 2, needs a 2. 2 H's, 2 H's. All right, for the last one.
CD. Need a 2.
No.
Why?
Because CD has a 1, and that's a 1. That 2 doesn't distribute because there's no parentheses. All right, and the last one, again, is there an water? No. Is there an acid? Does it say +O2? So we're not using any of the arrows, okay? So this time, again, we can't use any of these arrows. So we're looking to see if somebody's above somebody in this list of elements. So we got to see if somebody's switching with somebody else. Mg has a +2, cobalt's a +2, nitrate's a -1. So who is switching with who? Mg and cobalt. So this is the part people struggle with. Who has to be above who?
MG has to be above cobalt.
That's right. The one that's alone has to be above. All right. So Mg has to be above. So Mg is here. Cobalt is there. Is Mg above?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So we switch. So what do we get?
CO
Plus
MG
NO3 with a +2, -1, crisscross, and we get a 2. All right. Does cobalt get anything? No, because it's not one of the 7. Okay? Questions about the homework? All right. Can we look at what a lot of you finished in class yesterday?
Not me.
Well, I know you didn't. Huh? Oh, and the one y'all want balanced. The one that Raquel was telling you how to use the calculator to do some really funky stuff on.
We should turn this in.
We should turn what in? What you just wrote down?
No, because I know what we're doing now, so we should turn it in.
That means Monday on the test, on the back side, you should know what you're doing.
I'm gonna get 100 on that backside.
I hope so. These tests are much easier to grade if y'all do well on. I would appreciate if you do well, because they're hard to grade if y'all suck them. Make the mistake, and it's really hard to grade. And given there's 28 of y'all, I would appreciate if y'all would do well.
Well, I want to make your life hard.
I really don't want to spend Monday night grading papers.
I give you headache. Can I text Joyce and see where she's at? Because she's supposed to be here.
I'm sure she'll be here by the third period if she's got to be here for 2 periods. All right, there's 1 through 5. Now again, remember what I told you yesterday. One number wrong means you've lost 2 points of the question on this section of the test. And it is the biggest section on the test Monday. 2 numbers wrong, you've lost all 4 points.
You always do the most on the test for the stuff I don't want to do, and it's really aggravating. Oh, it's really aggravating.
I'd like to tell you that I did it just to make you mad, but it's been set up that way for years, so it's not personal.
I don't even know where that worksheet's at. Oh.
Why did you so dumb?
What numbers are so- Huh? Well, what
We have big numbers.
it's entirely possible that you could have big numbers like that on the test Monday. I certainly wouldn't look at them and go, that's too big for y'all. I need to think of something smaller.
You should.
If you had 4, if you had numbers that had 4s in number 3, I would take off 1 for reducing in a question like this. Okay, but you would lose a point for not reducing. If it was strictly a balancing question, those would be 3-point questions, and I would still take 1 point.
Okay, I did number 1 right. Thank you, Nicole.
Every question is.
Oh, okay, I see how many.
No,
I guess on the whole science part.
Yeah, I guess on the science part.
I got the science part.
No.
Math part?
I got the math part.
Oh, I did.
I did like a good math part.
For the ones I didn't know, I could be.
I put B.
I just like, well, I looked at it first.
All right, now turn the page.
This got a number.
Can I go to the next slide?
No,
No.
you have 62 oxygens on the right, and you have 42 on the left.
Silly.
Whoops.
Well, you went to tricks are for kids. Shut up.
Awesome.
And no, I would have no remorse about the top one on the test either. That would be
As long
fair
as you
game.
start a big one with 2, we got it. Start where?
You may not need to start it with 2. If you start it with 2 and don't reduce, I'm going to take off 4 on the test.
Well, I'm gonna start with 2.
If you start it with 2, check all of your coefficients, and if they can all reduce, then reduce it. If you start it with 2.
Right.
You talk with so much patience.
She does. But she doesn't have any.
Last time was easy. Never know. Whoops, didn't I do that right?
Added it.
We should be getting that big answer. Perhaps. You need to. You have this class. I don't care about math. Okay, local math.
This says for the term number 11.
The day I turned 11 was the day that I went to work.
like after 11, like after 10. It's just after 10. 11. After
It's just been downhill since.
It's just been down.
Okay, let me think.
It was 8th grade. I feel like 7th grade.
What? Like the day there started being letters in that.
That's what I
See?
Oh, okay. Day?
After listening to messages?
All right. Can I take questions and take this down?
Yeah, we got like 16.
There aren't even 16 problems, so I can't work 16 questions.
We got like 16. Okay.
I got 99 problems in math is the main one.
You know, we make fun of Joyce's question.
Wow.
Yeah, like I grew. Has she told you about that? Because she like cameras. No, we'll be eating. No, and then we're like,
All right. What do I need to work? Number 3? Let me find this, or I'll be asking y'all what these stupid questions say the rest of my life. This one that doesn't have the answers. There's one that doesn't have the answers. So I have the questions. All right, so number 3, lead 2 dichromate. One of the biggest problems people who are getting this wrong face is you're not remembering to reduce. Oops, it said dichromate. All right, lead has a 2, dichromate has a 2. All right, 3. When you look up your oxidation numbers and you see that lead has a 2 and dichromate has a 2, stop bringing them down here. Once you bring them down, you forget to reduce.
Right.
Once you forget to reduce, it completely jacks up your balancing. Plus sodium chloride. Sodium chloride has a 2, plus 1, minus 1. All right, what kind of reaction is that, Annabelle? Since you're struggling with that.
So that would be on this side. So PB, lead is a metal, right?
Yeah.
And then CO3? No. C.
Sweetheart.
Is it like metallic chlorates?
Oh. What are you even looking at on that chart?
E on decomposition.
Dude. If it's got, okay, if it's got a plus sign, I can't tell you that way. You see how it has a compound plus a compound?
Yeah.
It's double displacement.
I've been
You need to learn those parts, okay? If it's an element plus a compound, it's single displacement.
This is
If it's a compound plus a compound, it's double displacement. There's a reason I taught you those things. Because you're going to burn up your entire test time hunting for that. You only get an hour and a half.
So if it's a compound plus a compound, it's double displacement.
It's double displacement.
Replacement.
Replacement, displacement, same thing.
So A,
Okay.
B, C, D is 2 compounds.
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to switch the 2 that have the same sign. So PB and Na are switching places. So PB will be with ClO2. Na will be with Cr2O7. Now, when I put in the oxidation numbers again, plus 2 minus 1 will bring our 2 down. Plus 1 minus 2 will bring our 2 down. Now, the thing that most people do wrong, again, is they bring these 2's down, then they have 2 2's down here. And that messes up your balancing. Now, once you have that, then it's easy to balance.
I'm sure your right hand is really strong.
It's a lot stronger than my left at the moment.
Oh yeah, because then you break your left one.
Yep.
You can't even close your hand, right?
No, that's about all I got. All right. Can't even close the sliding glass door with it at the moment. 2.
That's sad.
Yep, it is.
I can't do it.
Well, you have a common Ceci can't either. Right.
Oh, my ink is messed up.
Oh.
It's just messed up.
They look like my dog.
Did you break it?
My dog, they look like
No, I was born like this.
Okay.
Didn't you have certain little move?
Yeah.
So you get that? No. But
Yeah.
I had 5.
4.5. 4.5.
All right, next. After 3, what was next?
Number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Yes.
What do you need me to do? Balance 2? Okay. So you have C10, H22
Is this the test?
plus O2. All right. So are we okay with that's combustion? So you get CO2 plus water. All right. So when you go to balance it, most people probably said 10 C's, 22. So you had 11 here, right? So you get 20 oxygens plus 11 oxygens, and you know that's 31, right? So when you get an odd number, we talked about how to put a 2 out front,
Wait, 10
right?
plus 11 is 21.
It's 20.
Okay. 10 times 2 is 20.
Plus 11.
So I was an 11 times 2.
Because there's a 1 there.
There's a 2 there.
We're looking at the.
We're counting those.
Are you sure this is the orange
Some days I wonder too. All right, 2 times 10 would be how many C's? Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
So I need to make 20 C's. That 2 only goes to the O, so there's how many C's?
10.
So I need to make 20 C's, so I'm going to put a what there?
10.
There's 20 C's,
20.
so I'm going to put a 20 there to make 20 C's. There's how many H's?
Well, now there's 42.
Okay,
44.
44. Use a calculator tomorrow or Monday. All right, I need 44 H's. So how am I going to get 44 H's?
22.
22 times 2 makes 44. Now I'm counting O's.
Right.
20 times 2 makes how many O's?
40.
So there's 40 O's there, plus there's how many there?
22.
22. So 40 plus 22 is
62.
62.
And I need 62 on
I need 62 here. So what times 2 will give me
31.
That's why there's 31.
Brilliant.
Okay. Next,
8.
8 and 11.
8,
All right.
9, sorry.
Nickel says nickel 2. Is nickel diatomic? You don't put anything on it. Plus oxygen. Is oxygen diatomic?
No.
It
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, yes. Sorry.
gets 2.
That's all I needed.
It's synthesis. We put it together. NiO. Both 2's cancel out. So it's NiO. To balance it, you put a 2 here and a 2 there. Okay? Next. Number 9. Titanium 3 carbonate. Titanium has a 3. Carbonate is a 2. Parentheses 2 and 3. Plus lithium has a 1. Phosphate has a 3. It's double displacement again. Lithium is going to be with carbonate. Titanium is going to be with phosphate. Now, again, that's going to have a 2. These are both 3s. What's going to happen to the 3s? They cancel out. All right, to balance it, pick something. I don't care what. I would have probably picked the carbonates. You don't have to, though.
Can we just start at TI?
All right, so 3 carbonates. That made 6 lithiums. 6 lithiums, 2 phosphates, 2 phosphates, 2 TIs, TIs. You probably could have started with the TIs. Huh?
Oh.
Next. 11. We got sulfuric acid, H2SO4 plus aluminum. And even though it's an acid, it's still a first element and a polyatomic ion. It doesn't matter that it's an acid. So hydrogen has an oxidation number +1. That 2 came from up there.
Where'd you
It's-
get SO4?
Oh, we're on your question.
We're on 11. All right, aluminum's +3. H and aluminum are switching places. So aluminum will be with a polyatomic ion, and H will be by itself. Is H diatomic? Yes, a 2. Crisscrossing your compound. Plus 3, minus 2, 2, and 3 come down. So 3, I'm going to put a 3 there. I made 6. Put a 3 there, 2 there. Questions? No? What else?
Test one time.
I'm enjoying this practice. Manganese, 7. Thiosulfate is S2O. What's S2O3? That's thiosulfate, S2O3?
Yes.
Okay. And that has what, a -2?
Yes.
2, 7. I don't use that very often. What am I adding it to? 10, 5 phosphate. SN has a 5, phosphate's PO4 with a 3. So we're going to have a 3 and a 5. It's double displacement. 10 is going to be with thiosulfate. So we've got a what? A 2 and a 5 plus manganese is with phosphate. So we're going to have a 3 and a 7. All right, so it doesn't matter what you choose to balance first in this one. It's not going to balance for you. All right, so you can do what Raquel was trying to show you yesterday and come up with some snazzy way on the calculator. You need a lowest common factor. It's a lot like the number, I think it was 3 or 4 on that very first worksheet I gave you. Okay, so when you go to balance here and you have 7 and you have 5, and you go to put a 5 here and a 7 there, and it won't work for you because you can't get 35 because you have 10 manganeses and you have 3 over there. Start thinking in bigger numbers. All right? What's a 5 and a 2 and a 15 and all that have in common? 30. How can I get 30 of those suckers?
15. Brilliance.
Okay? So I've got 30 manganeses. How can I get 30 manganeses over there? 10. And go from there. Okay? I didn't need a calculator to do that. You learn those skills in elementary school.
Yes, ma'am.
No, elementary school. You said you gotta find it.
It wasn't that long ago.
It was.
It was.
49. And so it's been a minute since I was in elementary school.
I mean, but you take it.
Okay? So 15 times 2 was 30. All I did in my head was, okay? For those of you who are like, Wall does this all day. No, I don't. I don't balance all day, people. All right? There was 7. There was 5. So we knew the 5 and the 7 wouldn't work, right? So in my head, 5 and 2 made 10. And I had a 3 over here on manganese, right? So 5, 2. What number do all those have in common? Well, they all divide into evenly. So I'm trying to get 30 of these. How do I get 30 manganeses?
15. We already did that.
I know that. I'm just explaining how I got it without the use of a calculator. Now, you can use the calculator to come up with it if you want to. Now, if you're Raquel and you've got a snazzy way with the calculator, knock yourself out. Okay? I'm not that calculator proficient.
We were talking about it yesterday.
10 times 3 will make 30 manganeses. And go from there. If that won't work, play with another common factor to see if it'll get you there. So 15 times 7 made how many of those S2O4s? 105? So how do I get 105 S2O4s here? 21 times 5? All right, that made 42 SENs. 42 would be 14 times 3 will make 42 SENs. 14 times 5 PO4s is how many? 70? 10 times 7 is 70. Okay? That's how I would have done it. Now, if you've got a fancy way to do it, come up with a different way, knock yourself out. But I use lowest common factors. All right. What time is it? Dear Lord.
Test review time.
Let's get break.
That ought to be the test review.
Break time.
That's still homework.
Now it's test review.
OMG, you guys.
Now, Y'all have less test review time because at 11:20, I'm going on the mole ratios. Because we are starting mole ratios today. But I will do this. I will post the answers to the review online since we're probably not going to finish it before I go on mole review. Mole today. Because we should not have still been doing our homework at this point. Now, the one that Cecilia is handing you has predicted products, it has balancing on the back, and it has word equations. The one that Annabelle is handing you has the activity series. So what is on the test that's not on the review sheet? I did not put any symbols on there. Okay, you can study that during your notes. I did not put any types on there. You want to identify the types that are on your worksheet. Identify. Okay? Alright? Any of them can be identified for types? I would stay out of the balancing for types because there are a couple of the balancing that we didn't do types with.
Okay,
But any of the predicting you can do types with.
come on, Annabelle. These papers are stuck together. Not that hard. I'll smack you. Do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody get 2 papers.
Yes. Technically, one and a half.
I'm standing here.
Well, let's do this one first. Let's do it 2 weeks. Which do you want to do first? Let's do that. Fine, let's start. Let's do it. So, I don't think so. Water with the liquid. No, that's what knowledge is. No reaction. Yes, you were right. Man, you did right. Amazing. I didn't even take it that far. That's the acid. I didn't take it that far. This is not water. It's not an acid, and it's not the oxygen. So we have to look at the one that's like the one switching is above the other. What? We have to look if we have to look if F is above the other. So they're switching places.
Yeah, there's no activity series. If I don't expressly say the activity series, don't use it.
No. We are an F for situation.
Alright, if I don't say use the activity series, you do not use the activity series. Okay? I'm just answering for everyone so that I don't have to answer it 4 more times. So the 2 of you side by side.
Negative one. One's at the same side.
Guys, that's the same question. So there's more than you who need that question. So that you know this for Monday. The only place you use it on the test is the back page. The back page, the last 4 questions. Yes.
Yes, so we are that.
Is that an element in the compound? It's a compound.
Because K has clause, no, we are that, yeah.
Thank you.
We are that.
Yes.
That has a plus sign there in the middle of a compound plus a compound.
Yeah.
There's no element there by itself. That's two compounds. Right? Yeah, I mean, there's like,
Cross, but they're both ones. They don't need
A
anything.
quiz.
And B R's the
and it means it's dissolved in water.
Now balance. So,
I'll be right back.
F has two on this side.
So when it's like this, I don't know.
So,
It's two compounds. Why are you looking at it at all? It's double displacement. It's two compounds.
Oh,
I read it
That's
as
not how
How
I
many choose to use?
Three. Because OH.
because, two.
where are you from?
All of your
Now the
isotopic
next one.
right here where it says
This
hydroxide.
one is an acid.
OH.
H.
And put it in parentheses.
Do you see it?
This one?
No, right here's the.
You're very close. First cross your oxidation numbers.
And so you have to look if PT is in that range. It's not. No reaction.
Well, where do you see HCl?
It's an acid.
Okay,
because it starts with
now.
an H.
What type of reaction is it?
Dude, it's HCl is nothing.
You gotta answer that before you predict any products.
And look right there.
Now, I'm not picking on Linda, but since I'm answering her question, and she's asking me if her answer is right, the first thing I said to her is, what kind of reaction is it? And she goes, before you predict the product, the first thing you need in your head is, what kind of reaction is it? If you don't know what kind of reaction it is, you can't predict what kind of product it is. Okay? You need to know, is it double displacement? Is it single displacement? Is it decomposition? In your head. Just because I don't tell you to write down the type doesn't mean you don't have to know that. Okay? So have that in your head before you predict the product. Okay? Alright, so what time is it?
First of all, we don't even have to do it. No reaction.
Okay.
Okay.
So second one, it's a element plus a compound.
So that would be double, no,
How do you know if it's
An element plus.
let me find it.
Well, that's a good point. So that's parentheses, so it's definitely a compound. Okay? How many capital letters?
The A.
There you go, it's a compound. Alright? What's that?
Single displacement.
Okay, so the compound plus a compound, what's it gonna
Single displacement. Yeah.
be? Very good. So it's double displacement.
It's the balance.
Alright, so what you gonna do is double displacement.
And you know because there's one element alone.
Yeah.
And a
Okay,
compound.
so two elements are gonna switch. So you need to know the oxidation numbers of these two and those two. Switch them.
The acid, I got to say, is SN in it? Yes.
So what kind of, what kind of thing?
Yep.
Okay, that one's good. Because
It is like the one we just
the H
did.
and the who. HCl is,
Displacement.
How?
you gotta put them together.
HCl is two compounds.
Double displacement.
No. I mean, not,
Yeah.
HCl is
And then switch
two
the oxidation.
elements, which is a compound. And the S in is an element. I don't know she wanted. It's single displacement.
Okay.
What do you
You know
It's
what
one,
H
if you
is?
see one compound alone, and that's not one, that's single.
Right. So SN plus HCl, now,
Alright, who else has a question?
quiet, work.
Quiet.
I've been there, done that, Wall.
Not the snot out of it.
Yep, I've been there,
I
done
like
that.
1, 2, 1.
Alright.
You have yogurt in your room.
You should have.
Girl, wow.
Girl, you know what's my own? You saw how nutsy it smells?
Oh, but
That's it.
that's it. We have to
I would take
yeah, we
it
have
as
to look at the oxidation.
specify.
But it's 5, I told her to
Easy.
plus 2. So we want to use plus 2.
Yes.
And then H.
Look at Destiny, I'll be right there.
Oh, wow.
Plus 1.
Nope. I mean, this part is correct.
Oh, that?
No, you keep like
Plus 1. This is the first one. No. It's the first element in the compound.
What are you choosing?
because she's in the box and I'm you.
Yes. We'll do that formula on what you wrote.
CL plus 1.
I can't because
How?
Yeah.
CL is negative 1.
Yes, I think we all get slight closer to the center.
Yeah.
And I
No, hydrogen cannot, because we learned this, but it's a compound. The first element is always oxidation. Excuse me. Well, hurry up. Well, the name of well, they fixed it. I'm not fixing it for you. Yes, but which I was switching. Yeah, I said no pass. In the bathroom.
I think it does. Why not more the red carpet? I was like, yes,
Now we down. Did you put it 2 with the H?
You're on this points, number 2, because you're using the wrong element. It's not mag. Okay?
Two right at the HCl and then you go.
Fix that tubing stuff, and yes, next time. Alright, who else has a question? Yeah.
Joyce is fine. Yeah, anything you need to
Had to stay home, I'm sick, but I'm coming here every day to check.
Alright, Alex, the MGC comprehension. Okay, where do you go with the composition? Okay, where do you go on your? Okay. Fine. Looks like MGC
Rio plus Fe, that's 2 compounds.
No.
I mean, 2 elements.
It's single displacement. It's 2 compounds and an element. I mean, 1 compound and an element. You're messing me up. Let's go. And then like now we look at the oxidation first.
Plus 2.
Okay, now we have to look, see that BA is going to replace FE. Switch to FE. Wait, so we have to look at the activity series to see if BA is above
Oh, it is.
Okay, so now we doing a Latin next.
Anyone a Latin next year?
Come on, she is.
I don't want
I'm pretty sure they're just gonna get a
Okay, so now
put a small
we balance.
Did you press first?
Now the number 3 has a 2, right?
Yes. We don't have to balance.
Yeah.
6. Is this water? Is too basic.
How
basic is it? Is it an acid?
No.
Is it Oxygen. Okay, so we have to see oxidation.
Yeah,
So which ones are,
I'm pretty sure I got a.
the ones that have the same sign are always. Wait, hold on. Let's see if F is
Stop.
Weird.
That's what they want to do. That's what they do. It's such a risk.
Water.
Yeah.
What about NA into water?
I hope I'm doing this right.
It is.
H2O in the liquid, so I have to look at the.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Water.
No, like one minute. Yeah. Just see what displacement is. Element is a compound. But it's not metal oxide. It's just an element.
Alright,
But like,
figure out the oxidation number.
but they did it.
You can.
No, I don't know, but it was so funny. Forrest did, Forrest did the song. And then we just.
Here.
Oh, my way.
Okay.
Oops, I was confusing myself. I'm pretty sure you use B on single.
Right. We won't have a lecture this year.
Well, I'm busy now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. 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 Yeah, you still go cross your oxidation.
Oh, it is.
Yes. And then you back.
Do you have Jessup?
Yes.
Yeah, this one,
Four's probably worse for one thing. You get the same thing you started with.
Right.
You usually get the same thing you started with, that tells you it is. Nope, it tells you it's synthesis. You get the same thing you started with, it's synthesis. And it's this one.
Okay, and we're gonna put it right here, remember?
No.
You go to single,
Nope, you're gonna get
just
back.
like maybe C.
So we're wondering, so it reacts because I just. But would it be
I just
this?
think it.
Nope, it'll be this, the metal plus water.
I know.
This single displacement.
So.
Are you not believing Cecilia?
We thought it was.
Yeah. What number is it?
So you get MOH plus H2. And MOH, they're both ones, they cancel. And plus H2, yes, and then balance.
Wait, what?
Because there's 3 H's right there. And there's only 2 on the other side.
So that's put a 2.
So put 2 there, 2 there. Yep.
Because like it's a whole song and then like.
So it's
Oh,
like
okay.
today.
And then they're not finished.
You're gonna have
So NA for weeks.
That fit that formula of MOH.
Let's do.
NA is metal.
I know, come back from metal.
Oh wait.
OH. It's plus. Yes.
So that means we have 3 H's.
Yep.
That means we're over here.
Yep.
You can start on the one
Okay.
That's the same.
It was you.
All right, who else has a question?
Nickel and sulfuric acid.
His brother was plus sulfuric acid. Yeah.
Oh, there was a high school. And I
All the rest of them are okay? All the rest of them are straightforward, just the way you want.
12.
Or you can say B. Yeah, we take long.
What I'm doing? No.
It was double synthesis that could have but it's just elemental.
Like I just.
Oh, okay. We have to balance it, but it's
No.
Yes.
Alright, so first one, we are doing
Yes.
calcium.
27, would you like
Oxide.
Here's your decomposition.
Nikki was.
All right, tell me what MgCO3
Child.
looks like under decomposition. Point to it.
What are you doing? In the somebody come.
I don't know, got one that looks like that. That's it. Chlorine.
Goes down so low.
Chlorine.
You need to have.
Second with the name, what's it say? Yeah.
Really? You just said you were lying. You just said you were lying.
I'm talking to.
So you have an MO.
On the phone?
So you need to have
So they can come to you. They can go to your house, like Troy did, climb up the window.
MG with what?
How does this chair have a product that contains a chemical that causes cancer?
What?
Yeah,
And then you have to now, this is a compound, so you need to check
We
what?
don't eat the check.
Right, just don't eat it.
Taste it.
I'm kind of hungry.
But we do.
But let's have the other one.
What kind of
Oh,
thing?
Yeah, you have 2 and 2. Why don't you bring those down? What happened to those 2s?
And
Yep.
Barrett, you not I haven't been in there in a while. Oh.
okay.
Why? It's a fine. You're prepared. It smells really good.
Right done.
You
know what they're going to do.
just remember it's your fault, not ours. That's what I started with. I'm not finished something.
She got one there.
She like go like this. What'd you say?
With the 7 dots.
Probably. Yeah.
Alright.
Is 8 plus 6 1?
There's 7. You only have 2.
And 8 is one. Yeah. I'm at it.
So,
She was struggling and she was
It's a student sentence, so you learn it. And secondly, you got this one written there. He's right there.
Thank you. You've done 3?
Yes.
I still think
Always 3.
Yes.
You're going.
I still think no, Sheila, you know. Yeah. And it will come on.
Very good.
You gotta get up. It's okay. Get up. No. You need some silver.
I've died. Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah. I was like,
I'm sorry, Mom.
Alright, so find the correct calculus equation for CSCLA3. Find out what it's supposed to be. Write the Here's here. Annabelle, you know where the worksheets are?
yeah.
Yep.
With the
Choose
old,
the choice.
old
Why are you on the
calculation,
floor?
things to-
Tired.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Now,
We did number one.
After it.
five. What is it? It's the element of the compound.
And balancing equations too.
Chapter 8.
Yeah, I can do good job.
Right? Alright, who else has a question? Huh? If you have the net, these are the negative oxidations. These are all positive elements. Okay, so you'll need them for like this one, because this one's gonna have to be negative. And George, you're just absolutely here. Thank you for the target.
Yes, you can.
You missed more than half the class. You're good. Huh?
Let me see this.
Well, technically you need that, so I don't think you just skip class, but you're that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we come up with that.
The one that column above the all.
That's weird. You can-
Well, it's new to you. Oh my gosh, I love your daughter's dress. It's actually really funny. Choice. Okay, there's the top of your dress. She's like bright pink.
Are you on her phone? I was like, what's wrong with that? That looks like the picture.
All the atomic items, right? So she thinks one thing, you don't have to multiply anything. Because it does stand up like.
Just while I like your daughter's prom dress.
You don't have to worry about
Did you know what
it.
No, it was fine.
I'm not saying it is that.
You don't have to have it. You really don't have to have it. You don't have to have it. Put it three. Put the other one.
Okay, let's do it together.
How would you get the?
We'll bring you over here. I have to show you already. Well, no, fine, I'll do it by myself. And then we get choice. Oh, it's the best one. So. It's only yeah, they're full.
All right. Pretty sure.
That's why they're taking shit out. I wash my hair. I got this thing.
All right, you gonna test question?
But she
So this one, sorry.
Sample again, Bill.
Active.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Only one under single splice is going to get is B. A, C, and D will work just like every other splice that you've done. You don't need to look those up. Okay? It's just another It's just this one. Okay?
Single displacement or double displacement?
But any other single splice will work the way we've learned. You don't have to look.
I was going to make sure that you know.
No, it's not. It's just another.
Joggers, right? Double displacement on the side. Thank you. Go start for me.
It's false.
I should get extra credit.
No, our junior, I think.
I lose it. That's
Why
what
did
she
she get a prom last year? Why'd you get a prom last year?
Why did you go to prom?
We thought she was a senior.
Is that even related? Is your boyfriend? You're nosy.
I really got it.
Now we have to find the oxidation numbers.
Sorry, yeah, we have a blue sheet.
I just need it. You don't know, like, you might need it.
Secondary studies, go. Always at home.
I am.
I know. You saw what hard.
Yeah.
Ever.
Oh, the girls, the next year up, no, they're not, they're all. I mean, look at
They kind of are, they are compounds, but in this one, they treat them like if they were just one thing. You're not gonna get it, actually, but it's special. It's gonna be decomposition, but it's gonna be calorie partial. No,
I said that. I did. I said CSCO.
So what do you do like that?
I didn't go through all the problems of this, so
So you know, I told you all 5 running.
sorry.
Anyway, yes. Now,
Okay, so
AG is
we
gold.
have CR and H2O. No, it's AG. And what type of
AG is
H2O?
silver.
Did you just ask?
Yeah, okay, so I'm
I know this. Not you. Not that far. Yeah, but I know that.
Okay. So this is for CR and H2O. The CR and H2O. First is air. The small air. So you can say there's line.
I'm just asking a question.
So it's CR. Then you predict where, but it's not one where, yeah.
On this sheet. On this sheet.
What? I got a 4.
I do.
The 2 races.
Okay, next one.
The second.
All right, who else has a question?
Or starts with the H. Sorry. So
Make weeks. On the product side,
it's the end of the it is the 4 arrows. Like it's KBR, like it's all that I got C. This is balanced too. CAO. I probably need to like go totally, but these are because you know this H2O. I know. I always do that at the bottom.
well, we're not.
Alright, I'm gonna.
He's got more of them.
What time is it?
She's really confused on number 2.
What's wrong?
Well, sorry, get up. I'm like, what's your third area?
It has nothing to do with what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, wait, I took that pill at one time.
Do you have water in your
Just don't take it. Not.
It was like plus water.
So, I'm gonna take the more like
Oh, to take
No,
another.
maybe it's forever.
Yeah.
but I'm
Guys, you gotta find the
I know, I don't know. No, you're not, I took you see it in 24
but I'm
hours.
smaller than you.
Okay, girl, it's safe for anybody.
Sound like this is one. Right?
I didn't mean to, I read the book. I tried to take them all away.
Switch. Yeah, switch will be off. So whoever's in the score one,
What is
give up.
it? Is it third?
Right here. Yeah. Above.
No,
So I use this code to shoot right by.
All of these are positive. Approximation number one. So, after the
Yeah, so we're not gonna see
answer is yes, that's approximate.
Yeah, it's not one of the compounds.
That's what they're trying to tell you.
It's like fashion.
So now switch them.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so
All right.
I have to look
Who
at
has a question?
oxidation numbers.
Have we had enough of this so I can talk about mole ratio? Well, hold up.
Yeah, because if I have a question, then I can't text you because it's not the same as being right here in the present.
It's not like I'm Jesus or anything.
You are.
No,
Him is Jesus.
No, I'm not.
Yes.
Go me. I use the sheet right now.
Okay.
Like,
All right.
What do you do with it?
Like 9.
let's go.
For no other reasons, you go out.
I'm thinking too much. Oh, wow, I'm thinking time long.
That was bad and good at the same time.
Yeah, I got a bunch of DVDs.
What'd you say?
Did you grade my question?
Right, I'm still getting that. I'm gonna get this.
Yeah, some math, some
You did.
There's no.
Oh, well, where is all this stuff? So look at the ones that was not supposed to come from. NO3, haven't supposed to like look at it. Like I see it right
You would
here.
look for NO3. NO3 is not switching to anybody.
Oh, and I need to see if VA is above FA.
Yeah, because you have VA by itself.
Okay, so now we have to.
Oh.
Just make sure you're not. Don't stop, yes. Don't stop. I'm really tired. I'm not. First of all, not a white blackboard. Stop.
Yeah, y'all are not sucking.
Alright, just if I push Chris, right? I'll have to just ignore that.
But not talking about this.
Right.
You should say no. Oh, God. Somebody got that.
I got the same thing. I'm sorry.
Ew, what? No. So funny. Right here?
Yeah, it's a middle.
So they have to make the base. Make the base. I'm not looking lately.
Wait, what?
Can't get three. You're not using numbers in the All right, who else has a question? We've got about 8 minutes. The biggest thing I'm noticing is careless errors. Those things are going to eat y'all up on the test. There are no corrections. You make a 65, you keep a 65.
This wall.
Find magnesium carbonate or metal carbonate and tell me what form that is. That's carbonate. It does not make metal plus CO3. That would have been a -4. Off the top. That would have been no problem.
And then it's done. And then the rest we should have that.
This world is a much more gracious, kind-hearted soul than I am.
That's not real.
Oh my God.
Okay, number 5 single.
Does it look like I'm hopping in on my? I have both pictures.
Yes.
Let's go.
Wow, that's one of my favorites. Doing our work.
Now, that is decomposition. It's carbonate. So look it up and find the carbonates under decomposition. And don't just break it in half. That would have been a -4.
Is there anything wrong with this?
It should be MOH. Am I right? MOH.
I like these.
It's not one of the 5 factors. That's why I said
You do every day?
How much you breathe every day?
Right.
I don't feel like
And I'm not holding up my leg.
I know. Skip that one.
They started talking about the marriage. But you need to check with the code commissions and they told you. So, you know, I guess I'm normal. Whatever.
And told them to take my 2 minutes. Somebody else. But he never got caught, so. Yeah. But they left them. They weren't even playing.
Why is this important right now? I know. Why is it important?
I don't know what she told the people.
In 8th grade?
It was fun though.
Now, if you still have one of my calculators, put it in the box. If you still have one of my calculators, put it in the box. I will upload the answers to the website from the third period while they're working. You will not have time to ask questions on Monday. Maybe